Welcome to the Earthworks podcast, where our team will share the jargon of carbon from many of our turf friends from the past 30 years.
Hello all, and welcome to this edition of the Earthworks podcast, hosted by me, Jack Higgins. This week I had the chance to talk to Tom Higgins. No relation, but a great friend. He's the golf course superintendent of Jumping Brook Country Club and Hanover Golf Club, both in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Jumping Brook is a classic old golf course. It was opened in the mid-20s. And this week we specifically got to talk about a project that Tom and the course superintendent, Ronnie Simpson, completed last October. And this was a renovation of the collars and the two-pass green surrounds. Stay tuned later in the episode for a really cool tidbit about a giant honeybee hive that was found at Hanover Golf Club. Thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy. So, Tom, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm Jack. Glad to be here.
You and I met probably, shortly after I started with Earthworks, I'm sure, which was in 2009. And was that around the same time that you started at Jumping Brook?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm going on my 10th year at Jumping Brook. So what would that make that about? I guess it was about 2010 I started.
Okay.
2009, so it's probably right around there. But yeah, I think I'm going on my 10th year now.
That's awesome. And you don't just take care of Jumping Brook. You work for owners that own a couple different golf courses, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I work for Matrix Golf and Hospitality. The first job I got with them was at Jumping Brook as the golf course superintendent. And when the economy kind of took a downturn there a bunch of years ago, they started, reforming, things like that. So they let go of their superintendent over at Woodlake, who was also running Hanover Golf Club. So make a long story short, a kind of position kind of came up to where I could potentially run all three, and I kind of help them out, save some money. So I just kind of threw my name in the hat and told them I'd be willing to help them out. I was at one point I was running three properties. So Jumping Brook Country Club, Hanover Golf Club, and Woodlake Country Club. So currently Woodlake is shut down now, in the process of being sold. So right now I'm kind of overseeing Jumping Brook and Hanover Golf Club.
Okay, cool. So let's do a little bit of background about you. You've been in this golf business for a long time, I imagine. How long has that been?
Yeah, man, since 2000. 2000 is when I started at Hamilton Farm Golf Club. I was working for a landscape company, and there was a drought during that year, and we stopped mowing grass. So I just went into the newspaper, like you do back in the days, looking for a job, and I just called it up, golf course looking for work, and I met with John McShane. He hired me right then and there, and I started at Hamilton Farm Golf Club during the growing, which was an awesome experience to be a part of. I remember when I got there, it was nothing but dirt, and there was moving earth and building bunkers, and it was a mess back then. But I was around for the whole process. Getting the fescue slopes ready for seed, seeding greens, seeding tees, sodding fairways. I mean, you name it. I did it. So it was an awesome experience, awesome golf course.
And then did you go to Rutgers from there?
Yeah, so the superintendent at the time there, Tim Christ, I guess he saw something in me. He liked my work ethic or my attitude or whatever it might be, but he offered to pay for my schooling to go to Rutgers, during the downtime of the golf course season. So I said, sure, why not? So yeah, he sent me off to Rutgers. So I went to Rutgers 2001.
So you had Joel.
Did I have Joel? Yeah. Sir.
Great. Well, that's cool. And then you've bounced around a couple different places in Jersey mainly?
Yeah, so I started out at Hamilton Farm. Was there for about 5 years. Then, Tim Chris, the superintendent, left to go to Matita National.
Mm-hmm.
So he offered me to join him over there. So I went and joined him over at Matita. I was there for, I guess about 5 years. New superintendent came in. You know how that goes. Wanted to show people all that. So I was able to go over to Eagle Oaks with Marty Sommerfeld at the time for about a year. And then I got the assistant position over at Woodlake Country Club, which is obviously Matrix Golf and Hospitality.
Right.
So I was there for a few years, and then the superintendent position opened up at Jumping Brook Country Club, and my current boss hired me to be the superintendent at Jumping Brook.
So that's how you got in with Matrix, was through the Woodlake property.
Yeah, ultimately, actually, it was kind of funny. When I was the assistant at Woodlake, they got rid of the superintendent who I was working underneath, and they just brought in a new superintendent without even telling me, and I kind of got a little upset about it. So I marched up to my owners, who I didn't know at the time, to my boss, and I said, "Hey, this is who I am. You overlooked me, and I think you made a mistake. You should have hired me." So he told me to put my head down, and that was one piece of advice. Like, listen, just put your head down, and good things will happen. And then, it was a matter of a couple months. He's like, this is what we're going to do here. So,
wow, good for you, man. Yeah, very good for you. And Jumping Brook is such a cool property. It's so it's right outside of Asbury Park, New Jersey, right? It's right 66 in the Parkway there. And it's an old property.
Yeah, 1925. Yep.
Kind of the classic era of golf. It's a Donald Ross course, is that right?
No, it's Tillinghast, Willard Wilkerson in collaboration with Tillinghast.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of features of a traditional Tillinghast, push-up greens, really tough green surrounds. It's not fairly long. From the tips, I believe it plays, don't quote me, 6,600, I believe, from the tips, 6,200 from the whites. So not fairly long, but very challenging. The green surrounds are just ridiculous. The greens are sloped, very undulated, very tough on your short game. So if you play there, you gotta have a really good short game.
Wow, very cool. Now, currently in this time of golf, where we're under these coronavirus restrictions and everything, I'm sure you've had a tough go of it in the last couple months. There was no golf for a while. Now play's resumed, and I know you mentioned to me that you guys have a lot of play.
Yeah, we went from 0 to 100 like in the snap of a finger. It's been pretty crazy. It's great for business. It's great for revenue. Obviously, the owners are getting money in, and we're making money, which is awesome. But on the flip side, we're seeing more rounds or activity on the golf course than we've ever seen since I've been there, or for that matter, for the longest time at Jumping Brook. I mean, I don't want to say exactly how much we're doing, but we're pumping them out there pretty good. And like I said, it's a good thing, but obviously it has its negatives. A lot of cart traffic with only one rider per cart. Those are some things that are kind of starting to become an issue right now. So, but all in all, it's good though. We're excited to have golf back, obviously, and it's a good thing. We're very fortunate. We're getting a lot of new membership inquiries, which is something which is really good. We're going to be hitting our budget here probably in the next week or two, which is awesome. So we're doing really good. The membership's a good membership, and things are looking up. So.
And do you feel as though you're seeing new golfers, like or maybe golfers that you barely ever saw?
So it seems like we're getting a lot of younger guys. So what we feel like is happening is a lot of these guys are working from home,
Mhm.
or they're getting paid to stay home for whichever way, and they got a lot of free time. They want to get out of the house. They want to just do something. So I guess golf is an avenue that they're looking to explore. So it's kind of interesting. The extra $600 for the unemployment might be a little incentive. It just seems like people got some money and they just want to get out.
Well, I think another thing that's happening is guys with kids, young kids. They don't have sports. So a lot of that time, they'd be at the soccer tournament or lacrosse tournament or baseball or whatever. They don't have that conflict right now. So guys can do what they want, and women, men and women
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
all that.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird when you think about it. Golf's the only game in town, really. I mean, you go fishing and hiking, biking, things like that. But I mean, golf is kind of it. It's the very popular outdoor activity right now.
Yeah, for sure, and that's a good thing. Well, so I mean, I guess you've mentioned a couple times the green surrounds, and you mentioned just also the amount of wear that happens on the golf course, especially right now as they kind of open the gates and let guys golf again. So you invited me, and this was your idea, and I really appreciate it, to come by last fall when you were doing some reconstruction, some reshaping of your collars and your green surrounds of your kind of two paths outside the collar. And so I was able to come by and take some pictures, and we have some of those pictures here that we can go over, and you can kind of describe to us about what the project was like and what you saw on the golf course that made you want to do this work. Is that cool?
Good. Sounds good.
All right, let me share my screen here. This is a shot at Jumping Brook, right?
This is pretty much looking from the pro shop area towards number 9 green there in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a beautiful day when I was out in October, I remember, but it had already started to get a little cool. I think we had already had some frost. This was like towards the end of October. So, and you were in the middle of the project. You were kind of just laying sod. So let's see. You and Ronnie. And what's your dog's name?
Pepper.
Ah, right. Yep, you guys on the green. Now, here's kind of a shot of what you were getting done there.
Yeah. So I mean, you can see, you got your green surface to the right, our collars in the middle, and then to the left is our intermediate or step cut. So as you can see, the collars were and that's not even the worst of the pictures. There's much worse than that, but the collars were just infested with a lot of rye, just all sorts of different grasses were in there. We had a lot of crabgrass popping through, even though we tried putting down pre-emergent. Nutsedge was in there. I mean, it was just a mishmash of everything, and it looked really bad. You would cut it one day, and then the next day, all the different growth habits of the different grasses and whatnot were showing up. So it just didn't really look good. There's no definition involved at all. So that's why we decided we wanted to do something. And it's kind of funny. My Ronnie, my right hand man, he came up to me. I think it was beginning of October. It was the end of the day, and he's like, "You want to resod these collars?" And I'm like, I just looked at him. I'm like, "Yes, let's do it."
Let's get it done.
That's just kind of how it started. You know, we were thinking about doing it for a while, but that really pushed it. You know, last year, kind of. Now was the time to do it. You know.
Yeah, it was good timing. So what did you decide to go with? You want to tell us about this sod here?
Yeah, so we went with Kentucky Bluegrass. You know, talked to Kevin Driscoll over at East Coast Sod. He hooked us up with the sod, but we thought that the Bluegrass would kind of mesh better with our surrounds than the tall fescue. So we just went with just 100% Kentucky Bluegrass for the intermediate cut or step cut, the left hand side.
Right. And then how about, yeah, here's another shot of kind of the ryegrass contamination in there. Now, how about for your collar sod?
Yeah, so the collar side we just went with Pencross. You know, we were they had 007, but we didn't really want the newer varieties. It's kind of lower height of cut, likes a little bit more, I believe. So with our heights of cut, we thought that worked out just well. So
Yeah, well, Pencross grows so laterally too, which is nice for the collar because you know, it's really a part of the green that you need to have that recoverability all the time.
yeah, definitely, it's a lot of wear with the mowers turning on it and cleanup cut and all that.
Hmm. So yeah, this is a shot of it all done, right?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, finished product. You know, yeah. Besides the top dressing of the seams and things like that, but yeah, that's pretty much a finished product.
Yeah, it looks great. Looks great. Here's some more finished product. Think this might be from this shot you sent to me from this spring. So it wasn't really just aesthetics. You know, I'm seeing all this collar damming here. That there was some there was some misshape to the surround as well.
Yeah, we in addition to the collars, it was kind of reestablishing our step cut too. So there's, like you said, there's no definition to it. It's kind of all the step cut and the collar kind of almost, or the collar kind of looked the same. So we took each green and we just kind of, like you said, kind of reshaped the collar and the intermediate cut to what we wanted it to be, so to speak.
Now, would you say that this turf loss here was from like holding water and
No, that's all nutsedge or Kalinga.
really?
Yeah, no, that's not, has nothing to do with water. Yeah, it was because the nutsedge obviously started dying out right then. You start getting your first frosts and
Okay. All right, so you clean that out as well, which is great.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, here's the shot of your guys getting it done. You had maybe you could describe the process a little bit. You went through with the paint gun and kind of drew the line. Is that how it works for how you started?
Yeah, so me and Ronnie, we took a few days to kind of think about what we were gonna do. You know, we talked to our pro about what we wanted to do, but our older collars were about 22 inches. So and the sod that comes is 18 inches. And so we kind of had to play with it. We wanted to try to minimize the amount of cutting and the amount of handwork we wanted to do. So we kind of came up with, our width, so that what collar we wanted and our intermediate cut. So we were, we wanted to minimize the amount of sod we were buying too, but still make the project look good. So yeah, so what we did is we went around with paint, and we painted, just dashes along where we wanted the guys to saw cut. What we wanted to do is have one pass with the bent grass height. So we cut that a little bit thinner because the bent grass obviously comes a little bit thinner than the bluegrass.
Mm-hmm.
Adjusted our saw cutter to cut a little bit thinner, and we did the one pass around the collar for the bent grass, and then we dropped our saw cutter blade, and then we proceeded to saw cut the other outside passes where we would be sodding the bluegrass.
Oh, interesting.
So we didn't feel like we had a need to, you know, saw cut out an inch or two, level it with soil or T-mix or anything like that. We thought with what we had currently, we can just saw cut it and come in and poke some holes and just lay the sod right on top of that. So that's what we opted to do. It made the process really quick and really easy. So.
Ah, excellent, man. Excellent. Yeah. So, your guys went through, they cleared it all out. Now here's Ronnie, couple action shots. Now, what this was just to make it easier to remove?
Yeah, so that's after it's cut, and Ronnie comes by with the reciprocator and just cuts it into small pieces. You can see in the background, that's kind of the cleanup crew that's following around. And it just makes cleanup real simple and easy with a coal shovel. You kind of flip up a piece and it's not really labor intensive. We're not killing the guys lifting, rolling up sod. So yeah, it just made the cleanup process that much quicker and easier.
Now, did you do anything with the sod that you were pulling up?
We thought about it, but at the end we're just like, nah, it was just kind of too contaminated. We could have thrown it in some rough areas, but
Right.
For us, it just wasn't really worth it. So no.
Well, yeah, and it even had some weed contamination, like you're saying.
Yeah, so no, we thought about it, but it didn't make sense for us. So no, I'll put it in the dump.
Now you called me and we consulted about a good program for getting this sod to establish pretty quickly. Again, it was somewhat late in the year to get this work done. So we talked a lot about the mycorrhizae product, the Myco 333. So can you describe a little bit of the process here?
Yeah, so after it's all cleaned up, obviously we wanted some holes, for the roots to get down, but more importantly, to get the product down into the holes and the top dressing too that we were going to follow up with. So yeah, we just took the aerator and we just did a lap around and real the slowest gear it could go, and just punched a ton of holes. And then we put down the 333 Renovate Plus, and then we just kind of slung some top dressing by hand, and we just brush and rake that into the holes. In addition, you can't really see it, but if you look really closely, like by the green, there's a lot of dry jet holes in there, holes. So we had plenty of areas for the roots to go down. So that was another reason we didn't sod cut real deep and fool around with soil and things like that. So
yeah, you're happy with the root zone. Like you mentioned that it's that these are push-up greens, and the other cool thing is that you're really preserving the shape of the golf course. I mean, like we said, this is a classic course from 1925. Tillinghast had his hands on it. And what you're doing by just taking that thin layer off is you're preserving the original shape of those greens.
yeah, also, I guess another reason I didn't really say is why we wanted to do it this way is we wanted to react the same way as far as moisture goes summertime. If we were going to put a T-mix or something in there, we could be chasing these collards summer because they're only not even a year old, obviously. So they're going to be, obviously with the wet, if we have a hot summer, they're going to struggle a little bit until they get established. But yeah, we wanted to keep what we had there on the green surrounds intact the most we could.
So you got down with the Renovate Plus and the Myco, and you were laying this bluegrass sod in your surround, in your step cut, and the pen cross on in the collar. Now, how did the establishment go?
Oh, it went awesome, man. Yeah, it went great. We timed it pretty good. We did the front nine 1 week. I think we did it Monday, Tuesday, and we got a nice rainstorm on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the following week, same thing. We did it on a Monday, Tuesday, I think, and we got another good rainstorm, that following Thursday or so. So yeah, no, we started pushing roots. I would say it was within 4 or 5 days we were seeing, white roots coming from the sod, and in a matter of, it was probably less than 2 weeks. I mean, we could tug on it and pull up on it, and it was rooted pretty good already. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. So it went into winter really established then.
Yeah, I was a little worried. I'm not a big fan of sodding so late, just because you never know what winter could bring. But it went in to winter really good, and fortunately we had a pretty mild winter, so it came out looking great. And yeah, I mean, the project was a big success as far as the rooting goes and the establishment.
And how about the golfer? What do they think?
Yeah, they love it. They love the definition, the playability. Just looks cleaner, looks nicer. Like I said, the definition is really the big thing about it. You walk up to the green now, and it just looks better from an aesthetic point. I mean, it just looks a million times better. You saw the before and after pictures. I mean, it's just a world of difference.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, so thank you so much for sharing this with me, and again, thank you for inviting me out to, this was a really cool idea. It was a great project, and I really appreciate you inviting me to document it.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure to have you. And Jack, if I just can say one thing real quick.
Yeah, sure.
No, I just want to give a shout out to my right hand man, Ron Simpson Jr. He works his butt off for me, and a lot of this was his idea, and I'm glad we did it. But we worked together real well, and even though I kind of get a lot of the credit a lot of the time, he runs that course over there, and he does a hell of a job. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out on here. So appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, Ronnie's something else. He does great work, and yeah, that was really nice of you to shout out to him. Before I let you go, I want to bring up a story that you told me just the other day. I think this just happened at the other golf course at Hanover. You said that you had a tree come down. What? Yeah. What happened there?
Yeah, so I got a call from my guy over there, Lauren Collin. He runs the day-to-day there, and he's telling me there's a swarm of bees on 4 Green. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, a limb fell down. There's bees everywhere. They're swarming. And so he's got a phone from like 1980, so he tries to send me a video. I can't see anything. So I'm like, and this was the right before the day that we were going to be allowed to go back golfing. So the following day we were going to have a packed tee sheet, and so I'm like, all right. So I got in my truck and drive over there, and sure enough, a big limb came off of a red oak tree on our par 3, hole number 4, par 3, and in the broken off tree limb and tree, there's a huge honeybee hive. And this thing was pretty massive. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen things on TV like this, but never in person. So yeah, there was a huge honeybee hive in the tree. And the problem was that it was where you got to get to the green, you got to walk right past this tree with a narrow path to get to the green. So we had to do something about it. God forbid somebody does get stung, the ball hits the hive. There could have been a lot of
Well, and also the hive was totally exposed then. It wasn't going to function like it had been.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
these bees were going one way or the other. So I think you did the most responsible thing you possibly could. So what did you do?
Yeah, well, obviously I know with the honeybees, you don't want to mess with them. Obviously they're good for pollinating and they're very important to us. So I called our local exterminator and like said, yeah, we won't spray them. He's like, you got to get a bee guy out there to get the hive and get all the bees out and take care of it that way. So they put me in touch with a local guy. I wish I had his name here. I don't, but he was an awesome dude, an older guy, and yeah, he came in with his equipment, a vacuum, a little shop vac, old school vacuum, and he sucked all the bees out of the hive, and he was cutting the hives, putting them in his bee box. So he took the whole hive. He said he got about 95% of the bees. He got the queen in there, he said. So he just took them all out, and he got stung like 2 times. He said, I was curious. It was about.
Now, this is, Hanover is kind of located right in the heart of what you would call the Garden State. I mean, that's kind of where it's pretty close to a lot of, all the farms in New Jersey. So, so those bees they're working for us. And, you were able to get them to a guy that was gonna make sure that they remained working.
Yeah, so he has a bunch of other hives at his house, and he sells his honey to a local company. So yeah, he's going to put them to good use, and it was pretty neat.
Now, how close was this hive to the green? I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that your normal maintenance was not affecting these thousands of honeybees that were in this hive.
Yeah, I mean, to the green, 30 feet, 40 feet.
Wow.
Much more than that. I mean, it was right there. I mean, yeah, we walk by it every day. The guys are running their mowers right by there, weed whackers, and never noticed it. And when the bee guy came out too, he's like, yeah, it's very common. He's like, you won't notice these guys, they won't bother you too much. So he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if you have, 3, 4 more, hives out on this golf course. You just won't notice them for a long time.
That's great. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate you taking the time to get on with us. And look forward to sharing this with everybody. I think there was some really great information here.
Yeah, anytime, Jack. Appreciate it, and hope everyone's doing good out there, staying safe and staying busy. So appreciate it.
Got it, man. All right. Thanks, Tom. We'll talk to you later on.
Take care.